Hello and welcome to this edition of the Time with Hime podcast. I'm your host, Lynn Cordes, joined by our superintendent, Mr. Hime. Hello, sir.
How you doing? Middle of April, rolling through, almost the end of April now.
And we have been lucky. The weather's not been too bad. It looked like it was a little touch and go, and we were going to find a little winter back into our week, but next week looks beautiful.
Hopefully find some rain. Oklahoma weather is going to change back and forth, but hopefully we're past the cold spells and we can get our gardens planted and our tomatoes going. And hey, spring's here and spring sports are wrapping up and looking at graduation and summer activities. Kind of exciting.
Lots of good things going on. And we'll start off. You mentioned summer activities. Let's get into summer school because there's been a lot of discussions and surveys and families have filled that out and we're ready to tell them about the next step. So what does that look like?
Well, first of all, let's talk about summer school. You know, one of the things with some of the federal money we got as a school is we decided, where we're going to use it. And we know we've had summer slides always been an issue for students because they're away from school for long and they call it summer slide when they regress a little bit. Well, though the COVID and the summer, we have a lot of students that have gotten a little bit behind or haven't accelerated at the pace because they haven't had the instructional time. So we dedicated over $1 million in our budget for summer school this year at all locations. Obviously, we're combining some elementaries because there's not enough students and teachers to fill the building. But the ideal is to create a summer school activity to allow students to accelerate their learning, to get back on pace and try to catch up some of what being out for the COVID and 2 summers and just the other things have caused. Because some of our students, if you go back a year ago in March, we didn't have school from March 13th to August 13th, which is forever. And then even some of the kids who came back from August to now, they've missed days for quarantine. We have students who've been quarantined 3 or 4 times, and there's just a lot going on. So the idea is all levels present summer school. I know at the high school it's a little different. I think they're going to do the majority of it at Lawton High.
Well, and so what they have is each high school has a host site. So MacArthur have one, Lawton High will have one, Eisenhower will have one. It's our middle schools because we'll be transitioning some and they'll need that time to clean up the building. So we'll have 2 dedicated, Central Middle School and Eisenhower Middle School.
So again, like you said, we're working on it as we go because it's new, and a lot how it finally looks is going to be how many students come.
Yeah, correct.
Right now we're planning on having like 1 for every 2 elementaries, and so if your home elementary doesn't have one, we will bus you from that school to yours. Also, it'll be centered around one thing everyone needs to know is we're going to try to have lunch and breakfast and lunch every day at summer school, so students will get breakfast and lunch that come to summer school free as part of the summer feeding program. So we're excited about that, and the ideal is to mix learning with exciting activities because we forget sometimes that although we miss reading and math for that long summer slide and the COVID slide as we call it now, we also missed art and engineering and just hands-on projects and just those engaging activities that students like to come to school for. And so all the way through, we're going to really work hard to try to balance that some in the school. So we're not going to have 4 hours of reading or 4 hours of math. We're going to have an hour of reading, an hour of math, maybe for some students, and a couple hours of arts and crafts and fun activities that are learning. I mean, they're going to have a purposeful play, I think is what they call it for the lower elementaries. So it's going to be fun. And again, we've got it on paper. We're getting close, but it is something that can change as we go. Not major changes, but we'll stay in communication because it's about the number of students, the number of teachers, and keeping a great environment so we can accelerate learning. And that's one of the better terms I've learned. We just want to accelerate students and try to pick up or make up for what was lost due to the COVID.
And summer school is free.
Yep, free.
For every student.
So free lunch, free breakfast, and summer key. So it is something that you can use to your advantage, and I think it's open to every student.
And we're going to have our flyers. You'll see them in our description down below this link in this YouTube video, and then we will put them on our social media and website. And again, follow along because we do have enrollment times so that we can make sure that we're properly staffed and we know. So
hey, and we're always pushing out. We want everybody to watch our podcast. So hey, we'll try to keep you updated regularly if we make any adjustments as we go, and we'll continue with the podcast. So it's exciting. It is new to have this broad of a summer school at Lawton Public Schools.
2 sessions too.
Yes, we're going to do June and July. But we're really excited about it because we do think it's a good use of some of this one-time money we got for COVID, and a lot of it was to catch up. So hopefully it works. And truly, if it works, we may need to try to find some money on an ongoing process to keep it going.
And the one thing that I want to celebrate, that is summer school, but we also are preparing for the end of the school year.
Yes.
And a lot of activities. Can you believe we're going to be in May? In a couple
awards assemblies, and some of those are even my understanding is all the senior awards assembly parents are coming. I know we're not going to have a packed house, but we're letting parents come in. We're going to have our 8th grade promotions. Our graduations it's going to be at Cameron. Really exciting. That just think about it. A year ago today, we're thinking, how are we going to graduate? We're going to do this. We're putting together virtual graduations, and we really feel bad about it because we're excited for the kids of the class of 2020, the virtual graduates. And, in the class of 2021 are the class of masks.
And then hopefully we are back to normal.
2022's got to be better.
Exactly.
21, we all had to wear a mask and had a massive ice storm. 20, we had to deal with the COVID. So hopefully 22, we're going strong. We get to accelerate learning again and move forward with all, we got all these exciting things going. And that's a shout out to the leadership of Lawton and the people I work with every day who are, my team. Just the many things they're working on to try to advance and give our students more opportunities. That's just kind of our goal. We're gonna create opportunities and tear down roadblocks, and I'm excited how everybody's kind of jumped into that. And there's going to be a lot of things coming. So keep your eyes and listen to the podcast, and hopefully we can offer things for every student.
Well, in May 4th, we're doing something really phenomenal for our staff. We have the district celebration, launching the next generation into the future. And that's where we go and celebrate our teacher of the year, our first class teachers, our champions. We will have that streamed for our families. And this time we get to do it in person as well. So
I think we're going to use a new auditorium. Oh, yeah. If you haven't been in, watch the stream because you're going to see a beautiful building.
Now let's talk about the new bill that just passed and the shout-outs.
Hey, a shout-out to our local guys. Sometimes I'm one of those that can be hard on the legislators because what they do for schools. But, I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast, but we talked about it in different venues. The state board made a decision a month ago, 6 weeks ago, where they ruled that building fund was open to students. And Lawton stood to lose money. All the local schools did where the money went to the charter schools or might go to Oklahoma City to some of those. So we really got with our legislators to work on a fix. So Senate Bill 229, which actually has Senator Montgomery's name on it. It has Representative Caldwell's name on it. Representative Pay and Representative Wortham have already voted for it. Senator Kidd, from everything I know, has expressed he's going to support it. Now it's back in the Senate. It passed unanimously out of the House. This bill balances. It's a building equalization fund, and it's going to balance the equalization fund, and it will add some money to Lawton Public Schools to improve our buildings and our maintenance and our upkeep, and it will allow us to accelerate our makeover projects,
and those are happening. We just we just went and got
go by and look at Lincoln
photos of that, and we'll share that because the overview of that is going to be just so different, transformative over there, especially because now we've got that property that we're going to work.
Yes, and the amazing thing is, and people who work in construction is some of the materials are getting hard to get because there's so much going on with everybody coming out of COVID, everybody catching up. So, but we're excited about our makeovers. We're excited about our, again, a shout out to Montgomery and Caldwell Pay, Kidd, and Wortham, our area representatives and representatives and senators for supporting that bill, which is a great support of Lawton Public Schools.
Now, the other thing that we talked about this week with leadership and with staff is preparing our students. We talked about launching into the future. And I thought that was really something that I would love for you to share, what we're doing with our education system and how we're propelling advancement, because we're talking about jobs that are not yet created. We were looking at that, in our leadership meeting.
Yeah, there's a video that's been out there that gets updated almost every year. It's called Shift, SHIFT, Happens. Shift Happens. You can go on YouTube and watch it. But the video really talks about how fast we've accelerated. Some of us in my age, you remember when, I still can remember the party line. I can remember that we all had house phones. A cell phone was something of your imagination, the bag phone. And then, we went and, the iPhone's only like 10 years old. And so how fast we've technologically, we're like doubling every year now. And 90% of all the data and information has been created in the last 10 years. When you think about it, 90% has been created in the last 10 years. And if you watch the video, it talks like if you're an engineering student and you go to a 4-year college, in your 3rd year, the stuff you did your 1st year is obsolete because that material is becoming obsolete every 2 years or renewing every 2 years. You know, the number of jobs, when you read it, there's some varying opinions, but 60% of the jobs our students will haven't even been invented yet. And they'll be working with technologies that haven't been created. So the mentality, when you think about it and you look at today's jobs and high-level jobs, they weren't even around 10 years ago. So we have to change our education, and that's what we're working on with our maker spaces and what we're doing with our TAP program and our Life Ready Center is try to change where we're engaging and we're creating students. Students have to learn how to adapt, learn how to adjust to the changing world in order to be successful.
And that gets us into the junior robotics that our elementary students are doing in that competition.
Yeah, shout out to that crew in the city, and we're going to work with Fista and use the mall and have that competition in the mall. Put the pressure on them, but have that robotics competition in the mall where people can come watch it. But we're excited about that because robotics is a big deal, and we really want to improve that and that engagement in STEM across Lawton Public Schools.
Now let's give some updates of things that are happening in our district, and the one that's most recent that we've gotten some calls on and just trying to clarify are the school zone flashing light updates.
Well, you know, the flashing lights have been kind of a deal we've struggled with all year, and it's that age-old thing that we always talk about in our leadership meetings, communication. We can always communicate well. We've tried to work with the city and communicate. It just doesn't seem to work. And I know we're starting to get more and more calls because I guess with daylight savings time it gets in, but some of the lights are on when school's been out, and sometimes when schools get out, they're just not consistent. We're going to really work hard with the city next year and try to, over the course of the summer, get the lights set across the district and have control so they don't run on non-school days if we don't have students. And, you know, like somebody said, well, don't worry, ours flash at the virtual school, they always flash when they're supposed to. So, it's a deal that, again, it's kind of the city controls it, but yet our communication with them can improve to help them out. But it's something we've worked with them, and hopefully next year we can get this corrected where it's more consistent. And if the lights are running when it's for the safety of our students, not just to slow traffic down.
And just be mindful out there, you know, if you don't see the lights, but you know students are in school and they're still walking, that you slow down because,
safety first.
Exactly. We don't want to rely on lights to tell us to, be mindful of our students around there.
Safety first. Yes, very much.
And what other celebrations would you like to recognize today?
Well, spring sports are coming to an end. We're just graduation. What else do you have?
We have summer physical or preparation. We have physicals in May.
Yeah, May. Oh, yeah, athletic physicals in May at Lawton High. What are those dates?
May 1st and May 15th. And there is a small cost, and the flyers are out there, but it's $10, for students, and then $5 if you meet the qualification, and that's on our flyer. But you will have to have a mask, and that's just, great to see that we're getting back into that swing, and we can have people back in the buildings and getting those kind of activities
going. Yes, it's amazing how things that just the norm are now not normal, how we change in a year. Those are normal things we're getting back to, and we're excited to, because, we're really looking forward. I coached football for years. I'd like to go watch football practices. I love going to football games and just looking for being a part of things. Like I said, last week we got to go to a celebration at Freedom, and it was so awesome.
Yes, we didn't even talk about that. That was a great show.
Purple Star, they were so awesome, and just get to sit and watch kids perform just made my day. You can tell I'm still excited about it. And so, shout out to them again. But
we will have more schools because their applications have come in, so we'll be doing more celebrations.
Yes, more Purple Star Awards, and so we're really excited about that. And just, again, to get back to normal and so forth, we're excited about. The things we are going to get out of it, if we've learned to be better virtual learners, we're going to be more flexible. We've also learned don't come to work in school when you're sick. But there's a few things we've gotten better at, and I've got that saying, you don't have to be bad to get better. But there are a few things we've gotten better. But I'd rather, we've done enough getting better. It's time to move on to normal.
Right. And I think we learned a lot of lessons out of there, and we made things happen that we were trying to make happen. It just expedited the process, and now we're doing it with our virtual and whatnot, and just new curriculum. So I'm excited.
Yes. Next year is going to be a new year. We're going to be back to normal, but we're going to continue to move to the future. You know, when we talk about those jobs, if jobs are changing and technology is happening every 2 years, we got to move faster in changing how we educate our students.
And it's happening. And we're going to continue to share updates with you guys, let you know what's going on. Mr. Hime, anything else you want to say before we?
Hey, we're same thing we say every week. We're looking for questions. We want to answer your questions. We want to help solve problems. info@lawtonps.org. Please send your emails and give us some shout outs of what you want to hear. And so we can answer your questions on this podcast, because we like it when you tune in, and it's become a really great form. Another thing caused by the COVID.
That's right.
It's become a really good form of communication. But again, if you have questions, ask, shoot the emails. We'll answer the questions, and hopefully we can become more informative as we move forward with our podcast.
Thank you so much for your time. I always appreciate it.
We got to the end, and we didn't even talk about our COVID summary.
Okay, we're doing really good.
Is that all right? Is that not amazing? We're doing so well. You know, that used to be
the main premise of this.
There was a time when that was 85% of the podcast, and today we almost closed without even talk about COVID. We're doing so great. So,
yes.
So yeah, we are doing great on that. And shout out to them. And you know, we're going to wear our mask until we graduate. We don't want it to have any hiccups between now and graduation. And after we graduate, that we'll move that hopefully to the future. Everybody can put their mask in their pocket and wear it when they want to.
That's right. And until then, we appreciate your time, Mr. Hime. Thank you guys for your time. Until next week, enjoy the weekend, and we'll be back.
We'll be back.
See you later.